And this is recording, so perfect. Okay. So, yeah, let's go ahead and with that cold open mic.
Hey, I'm sorry I was late. I was playing that game, the one where you collect stuff to decorate your house, and you can share what you decorated with your friends. What was it called? Um, Fallout 76.
I thought you were going to say The Sims.
That'd also be a good answer.
No, but I mean Animal Crossing. I think that's what Mike was really referencing because Animal
Yeah,
Crossing has really taken over the vast majority of a lot of our lives. At
yeah.
least it did when it first launched.
Well, I've been going back and forth between the two, and I realize how similar they actually are.
Right? Yeah, I mean that's really the thing that makes you go back to both of those titles is the fact that you want to keep making your whatever your camp better, or your
Right.
house better, or your town better, or whatever.
One makes you feel very isolated, and the other takes place in West Virginia.
Yeah. So uh Mike, you are wearing a shirt that is in reference to tonight. What is tonight?
Star
Star
Wars.
Wars.
No. No.
I knew that was coming.
So we are talking about the retrospective of Final Fantasy VII Remake, which the wording is backwards and
Oh,
everything, but the picture is pretty. This is my nice pretty art book that came with my physical deluxe edition, which Mike decided not to get.
yeah. This is actually Advent Children.
Yeah, this thing's actually really nice, and then it also came with the audio CD, and it also came with this really nice metal case for
Tap on it.
the discs. Yeah,
Oh, there it is. Such a sweet sound.
yeah, but it's real. It's so badass looking, and then there's the back, and then the inside. It's really cool. It's
Well,
really cool.
be on your wall of stuff forever.
Well, actually, that's where I'm keeping the games because my game case actually came. It was broken.
Oh,
I mean,
Oh, you didn't tell me about that.
yeah, I would have been actually really upset, but I mean, I'm keeping my games in this, so I'm like, first world problems, right? So, um, I'm also got, since I ordered it from the Square Enix store, the deluxe edition. I got the cool Final Fantasy VII lanyard with the characters on them on it. I don't think I, don't, I can't get it off. Oh, wait a
You said,
second. I think there's a breakaway. Yep, there it is. Um, See, it's got Cloud, and it's got Barrett, and it's got Tifa, and it's got Aerith, which are the characters in this game,
huh.
which is something that we're going to talk about throughout.
you're such a
Especially,
fanboy, Luke.
I am a fanboy. That's the reason for this podcast. Which, by the way, it is real nice to get back to doing this after 5 months. It's been 5 months since we've done this last. Yeah, it's been. I mean, with all this going on,
I thought you were just doing them without me.
you've been doing yours without me. Of course, that's always
Yeah,
how it's
no.
been.
Yeah, I've always done done that.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, Mike has got his Final Fantasy VII shirt on. I
By
actually,
accident.
since mine was dirty, I decided to wear my green Materia Raise My Luck shirt. Um,
Luck
it increased.
plus.
I don't have a Final Fantasy shirt.
Yeah, but I mean, not at all. Of
Mm,
all the geek shirts you own, actually, do
yeah, I
you
don't.
own Do you own any geek shirts?
Yeah, a few, but not really.
Not really. So yeah. So that's what's going on. So I wanted tonight to really be about. I thought at first that maybe we could do like half non spoilers and half spoilers, but at this point the game's been out for how many weeks? Almost a month now. So
Over a month.
it has been over a month. What day? What
Yeah.
day is this? It's
This is the 13th. I don't know anymore either.
the 13th. So
I wrote down March and June today, so
and the game came.
can't judge.
Didn't the game come? The game came the 14th for me. That's what it was.
That's right. I got it on the 10th because I ordered digital.
You ordered it digital.
Smart.
I got it physical, and I got all the physical goodies. So still, you probably won because
I have Advent children.
you got to play early. But I mean, it's fine. It's fine. So anyway, since it's been 5 months since we've done this, have you guys thought at all about what you're geeking out about right now? Dead stares off into the distance.
Wow.
It's such a limited thing right now.
Yeah, I know. I mean, we're all doing geek stuff, but yet it's all, since we're able to do so much right now, it's all kind of blending together. Do you feel like that? Because I kind of feel like that.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I can go with one though.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
Got it. And actually, there's a few things because in the meantime, Animal Crossing came out, which I was excited about it before all the buzz.
Mm-hmm.
Wastelanders came out, which I was excited about before all the buzz.
I started playing that a little bit.
But I figured those would be things that we talk about later or in different episodes, possibly.
Yeah. I want to do a Wastelanders episode.
We can do that. I go through those missions very slowly, so that's good. It's later.
Mm-hmm.
But actually, what I want to talk about is Hamilton.
I saw that that's coming to Disney.
It is Disney Plus, and Disney had bought the rights to it.
Yeah.
Several months ago, and they planned on releasing it theatrically next year in October, I believe. But they decided to go ahead and release it on Disney Plus, and I think it's a brilliant strategy. For one, there's like 0 movies coming out this summer now.
Yeah.
I think the last one, the last big movie still on the schedule is Tenet, which I think is like late July.
Is that the David Tennant movie?
No, it's see, I forgot his name. The guy that did Dark Knight and Inception. I cannot think of his name right now.
Oh, you're talking about yeah, that guy. Yeah, the guy.
That guy. Yeah.
The guy.
Yeah.
Christopher Nolan. Christopher Nolan.
Yeah, Christopher Nolan.
God.
Yeah. So
brain cramps come in groups.
Yeah, exactly. But they announced that they're going to release Hamilton on Disney Plus on, I think, July 3rd is when it is. And I think it's a brilliant strategy because that fills a demographic for Disney Plus that they don't really have yet. By which I mean older folks who don't have Disney nostalgia.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, the artsy folks. Plus, the people who enjoy rap musicals. Plus, anybody else in between. I mean, I love Hamilton. I saw it in New York on Broadway. That's the only time I've ever been to New York.
Or to Broadway.
But what's brilliant about it is because it's such an entertainment hole this summer, Disney found a way to fill it without spending
a cent.
Or they bought the rights for $75 million.
Yeah, they bought the rights
for $75 million. So I mean, it wasn't nothing, but they don't have to sacrifice one of their blockbusters to fill a spot this summer.
Gotcha.
The way they had to sacrifice Up Onward.
Right.
Yeah, I'm excited because I kind of want to see Hamilton, and I don't foresee myself ever having the chance to see it, in a theater or anything like that.
Right.
I want to see it. So yeah, whenever I heard it was coming to a streaming service, yeah.
It's perfect. And this was done by the original cast. I remember when they recorded because it was like a few weeks before the first original cast member left. So it's all the original cast, and I've seen snippets of what they have done with the angles and things in the theater. You know, it's one thing to sit and watch it, but it's another thing to see it with all the different angles.
Yeah.
You know, the best possible angles for each shot. So I'm excited to see it that way.
So I'll go. I've got a few things that I want to geek out about. But really, the thing that I think I'm going to mention on this one, because it harkens to this episode. So my COVID project, which people have seen my building video on YouTube a lot. So I have this my old phone, which is the Moto Z Play. It just comes like this, and it has pins on the back, and it hooks to the private or mod for just these lines of phones. Now, this is very uncomfortable. Couldn't play this for very long. However, I made this. It is a custom made handle mod to
Nice.
fit on to, hold on, it's going to happen, onto this. So,
Ta-da!
ta-da! So anyway, I have been going through and playing Fallout 76 from the comfort of my own couch using Steam streaming. I've also been playing, and this is what harkens to this episode, PlayStation Portable Crisis Core. I've been playing Crisis Core on this.
Very cool.
That isn't actually a really good game. In fact, it bridges the not necessarily the story, but the style of game from Final Fantasy VII to Final Fantasy VII Remake, the action game, because Crisis Core has got that weird like um, almost action but still turn it's really it's kind of strange, but the story is actually really good. I'm very much enjoying it. I'm more than halfway through it. In fact, I'm pretty close to finishing it. I'm stuck actually, I'm not stuck. I'm more getting bored with a fetch quest mission, which these games are always plagued with. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I've been geeking out about lately is going back and playing some games that I usually either wouldn't have a chance to play or wouldn't want to play unless I could do it on my own couch or just play casually. Um, I'm also playing the PSP game, the Metal Gear Solid one, Peace Waker, which is actually a lot like Phantom Pain. In fact, Peace Waker came out before Phantom Pain. Um, it's actually it's got a harsh learning curve, but after you get into it, it's got some redeeming qualities about it. I don't know if you've seen any of those action graphic novels, the ones where they take the graphic novels and they put like motion to it, but it's the original artwork and everything. They have all the artwork from the Metal Gear Solid games. That artist, they had him do all the artwork and then they motioned it. So that's the cutscenes. So that that's a lot of fun too. I'm enjoying that. So anyway, that's my geek out. Alex, do you got one?
Yeah, I just finished Doom Eternal.
Ah,
Doom.
Doom. That's how I
Doom.
feel like playing the entire game is
Doom.
Doom. It is the doomiest Doom to
To
be
Everdeen.
doomed. It is doomtacular. So, yeah, just finished that game. I'm sad that it's over. To be,
How many
uh,
hours did you get into it?
I don't even know. Like 20. I mean, so I'm not gonna replay it on the ultra hard difficulties because it's already hard enough. So yeah, I'm not that good to play it on ultra nightmare. But um,
Hmm.
what else? I'm catching up on Star Wars: The Clone Wars, the animated
Uh,
series. I never really watched because they came out with their seventh season, and I realized I never watched the sixth season. So I'm gonna finish up on that probably tonight. Yeah, definitely. I regret dropping off of that show now. It's pretty
to,
great.
to be honest, I've only ever watched the last 3 episodes.
I mean, the last 3 episodes of season 7 or
Yeah,
season 6.
it ends nice.
That's what
I'll
I heard.
find out.
I
I can give you
heard
that.
I've heard that season 7 has some of the most fantastic Star Wars um, episodes ever in all of them.
I mean, you can really tell the graphic difference between the last episodes and then near the earlier seasons.
I can see that.
It's a lot bigger budget. It feels like than what it used to be.
So yeah, I'm Doom and Star Wars, man.
All right,
You're Doom and Star Wars.
good combination.
So anyway, let's get into this episode.
Yeah.
Um, Final Fantasy VII Remake. Before anything, I just want to gauge everybody's surprise that this game even got made. Like, seriously. What is it, 23 years after the original? They finally come out with it?
Any of the development notes that I've heard, I would love for there to be like a documentary about the development of this game. But from what little I've heard yet, there were a lot of non-starter attempts to do this, and it's a miracle that it happened at all.
Right.
Yeah. I'm happy with what happened in the end, so I'm kind of glad that they had the hiccups to get to where they ended up.
Yeah, I mean, not to get too far into what we're going to talk about, um, the they they're at a point of retcon where they have reached the nexus where they
Yes,
can do whatever they want. But I don't want them.
but they're not going to.
Yeah. Yes.
they're,
Like, okay.
they're going to add stuff, but they're not going to change anything. And that's my prediction right up front.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree with that. There's gonna be some changes, but there's just some things that they just can't change. They can't change without, leaving the punch from it.
I think it's all up in the air at this point. Maybe not all up in the air, but I seriously think that major plot points may be different.
Yeah, I mean, we could have something change as drastically as. Remember, this is a spoiler review. We could have something as crazy as Aerith doesn't die. I mean,
Is that really
I
is that really
mean,
a spoiler though? At this point,
well, yeah,
Well, yeah, but
so
that is kind of a forewarning that this is a full spoiler podcast. If you haven't played the game, play the game.
yeah. Nobody's watching us to get a review of a game that came out a month ago that everybody that was gonna buy it already bought it.
yeah.
So
But I think the mission statement with that, and this goes into spoiler territory, is in the original, a main character gets stabbed, and then there's a Genova battle. In this one, they're like, "Hey, let's do that exact same thing to fake people out." So stab Barrett, Genova battle,
yeah, which that's the no. Wow.
which I actually kind of groaned at with that. I was like, "Ah, They're not
I
really
think
doing
I
this.
think that's the coolest fight in the game too.
Yeah, that is my favorite battle, to be honest.
Right? That was a good battle. I I enjoyed the heck out of almost every major boss battle. I think the only one that I didn't love was the battle in the train yard. Not
Yeah, I
not
didn't like.
not the one with the guy on the motorcycle. The ghost boss.
Oh no, I think it's a chariot. That one I didn't like.
Oh, the chariot I liked. I thought that was
No,
fine.
the first one was fine. I didn't like that one because you got through. I think it's called the ghoul. You got through the ghoul, and it's like okay, right onto the plate. Nope, got to do it again 5 minutes later. My,
Yeah,
my
everything about the train yard kind of dragged. It was the one part of the game that I thought, all right, move it
You
on.
move it on. Let's get into what we actually know is gonna be the exciting scene. This is
oh,
go ahead.
what it was is because there's such a sense of urgency to get to the plate or get to the pillar, but it's like, oh hey, let's go and fight some ghosts for a little bit. You
Yeah,
know
Hurry up and wait.
yeah, that's what it was. To me, the one that drug the most was Hojo's lab. Which is kind of a blip in the original game, and it seems like it goes on forever in this one.
I don't agree at all.
Yeah,
I don't agree at
see.
all.
I
I can see
liked
your
playing
faces
as
in this
just
version.
Tifa and Barrett. Like that was a really cool change in dynamic. No, wait a minute. No, wait a minute. Now the whole thing, maybe a bit where you got to go into like each different section
Yeah,
and
exactly.
fight.
That's what I mean.
I would say it was all action. Like that I liked about it. It was mostly action and not a lot of waiting to do something, but
Yeah,
a bit.
I think it's because I was in the tower and I just wanted to get to the end at that point, and it was keeping me from the end.
Right.
Now, real quick, Luke, not to break the flow of things, but you did set the recording thing to record, right?
Yes.
I don't enjoy that pause.
Making sure, making sure.
Yeah. Yeah. No. The OCR is recording the video, and then Craig is recording the audio, and then OCR is also recording the audio. Yeah, I'm protected. I think.
Sorry to interrupt.
No, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
We'll get something in the
I'd
end.
rather just Anyway, so I I, I definitely like, or you were definitely right, Alex. Like after I got in front of the Shinra building, it was like all action from there out. The only thing that really kind of like was a lull a little bit was the part where you're in the lobby. That was a little slow, but I still enjoyed it. The part that I actually wasn't expecting, that I actually really enjoyed, was the counter information, the propaganda that they were giving to you in the museum. I loved it. I thought it
Yeah,
was so ambiguous.
Thank you for visiting the Shinra Corporation, where we're reshaping the world for a better tomorrow.
Yeah. Wait,
uh,
what was that one from Doom?
Um, was it Welcome to Hell? Damnation is eternal. you know,
Yeah, that's a good one.
your suffering will be endless.
Oh, wait, no. It was the demon one. The
Oh yeah. Please understand that demon can be considered an offensive term. We prefer mortally challenged.
Yeah, that was it.
oh,
Thank you, Alex. Oh man.
But yeah, I know what you mean. That seeing those videos come over and like the model of Midgar and stuff was that is what's in the reception hall of any major corporation.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you have that. Even governments. You've got governments that like the North Korea video. Have you ever seen the one where they're like saying that they're sending food to America and the the American diet consists of mostly coffee, which is actually mostly snow.
I've not seen this, but it doesn't surprise me.
It's really funny.
Uh,
Oh man, yeah, yeah. It's a good thing that nah. You know what? Never mind.
I mean, the American diet consists mostly of butter and grease. Everybody knows that.
That's not
hamburger.
entirely inaccurate. So, okay. So one thing that I wanted to say, actually, Mike, you touched a little bit on the visuals. I was reading your notes on here. You go ahead and give me a quick rundown on on your take of the visuals. I mean, you are a page editor, so visuals are important to you.
The first time I walked out into Sector 7, I think it's like a morning after you stay the night at your apartment or whatever, and you come out and you can see all the light just shining down through the plates. I just let the screen sit there for a minute and just looked around. I was like, this is bigger than I could have ever imagined. Because you don't feel that scope in the original game, but to be able to sit there and look around and be like, yeah, this is it. It was incredible.
Yeah, there were a lot of parts where I just stood around and took in the scenery.
Right. I mean, there was okay. So yes, I agree with both of you on the visuals. But going right along with that, sitting there taking things in. So when the demo came out, which I love the fact that the demo came out the day that the original release was supposed to be. I love that they did that. It was
That's
like,
true.
hey, you guys, we got you. We got you. So anyway, I the with the when the demo came out, it was also the same day that I went and I got a Shamrock Shake from McDonald's. So I'm sitting there and I take an Instagram photo, and it's seems rather appropriate that I'm drinking green materia while I'm getting ready to play the Final Fantasy VII demo.
It's Mako when it's in liquid form.
It's Mako, yeah, you nerd. So anyway, I'm I take that picture and I'm posting it, but it's on the title screen, and as I'm doing that, I am hearing the major theme playing on the title screen. And I just stopped. I stopped posting. I just sat there and listened to the soundtrack, everything. Just not the visuals, not the soundtrack, everything. It's just like the original Final Fantasy VII. It's just so over the top and so well done. It's every attention to detail is perfect.
Yep, that was the other point I had on. Uh, and I think Wall Market is probably the best example personally, because it's right down to like the little statues that are out in front of each place from the original. And I remember too walking through the tunnels on the way there, and I remember thinking, in the original one, there's like this random robot arm that just laid there in the middle of the field. I was like, I wonder if they're gonna work that in somehow. And sure enough, like not only is it in there, it's part of the way to
Game
get from point A
mechanic.
to point B. Yeah. So I was like, there it is. I applaud it.
Yeah. In actually in that section, that is my favorite background music. Is the remix of the Wall Market background music when you're going through the tunnels. It's like and I wrote down in my notes. I don't know if you guys saw it, but I wrote down in my notes that some of the music harkens back to a DJ remix of his classic songs,
Yep.
which, in fact, you could take this as the same way that you should look at the entire game. That it's not a remake, it's a remix. It's Final Fantasy VII Remix.
Yeah, I like that.
I don't think the title would sell as well,
Oh, well, I mean, no,
but it's
but
accurate.
A little
well,
bit of hip hop flair to it.
I mean, it would be more accurate if they had called it Final Fantasy VII Episode 1, because that's what it is. But
The Phantom Pain.
The Phantom Whispers.
the Phantom Whispers! I love that. That's
Nailed
good.
it.
Did you write that down? Did you write that down in your
I
notes?
didn't.
So you just came up with that on the fly. That's
Yeah,
good.
that was impromptu. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Some
Uh,
people are funny just spontaneously, Luke.
uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got you. Okay. Okay. So talking about the sound, did either one of you notice? Okay, did you guys go up the elevator or did you go up the stairs when you went through the Shinner building?
Stairs.
Why not? That's what I did in the original. Why wouldn't I do it now?
Exactly.
Same reason.
Classic. Yeah.
Yeah. So, which that was the reason why I decided to play the demo and not wait, because that's how I played the original. I played the demo first. Anyway. So in the stairs, um, I don't know if you guys noticed, but as you were starting to get higher up on the stairs, the sound or background music started warping. And I thought that there was something wrong with my PS4. Like, to that point, I actually went to the menu screen and moved around a little bit and noticed, oh, okay, there's not actually anything wrong with the PS4, and then realized that it's the game that they added that effect in there. Just like when you're working out IRL, things start warping and,
Yeah.
sound starts warping and stuff like that. I
Well,
just thought that was a really nice touch.
they also get super winded on the way up too, which I thought was hilarious.
Yeah, right? Like, I was like, I even thought, wait, is my running trigger not working right? And then, oh, Cloud can't run right now. Like he can't in half of the game. Can we just take a beat to acknowledge some of the annoyances?
So I do think that's my biggest criticism of the game, and I understand why it has to be the way it is. But that's my biggest criticism is all of the times that you have a slowdown or uh, any of these transition
Hey, let's
scenes.
stop and look at this cat.
Uh, and I mean, I think some people don't understand that those are loading screens. Those are the game loading the next area, and it doesn't just show you a black screen. It makes Cloud slowly walk through a little, like, they got to squeeze between train
Yeah,
cars.
slide through
And
the wall.
imagine if those were black loading screens, how annoying that would be worse.
That's true.
So that's why I'm excited about the PS5 having Luke has turned into a mime, apparently. Um, but that's why I'm excited about the PS5 having a solid state hard drive that it will be able to uh, eliminate that kind of thing.
Yeah, and see, I've seen a lot of criticisms. This is getting off topic, but I've seen a lot of criticism saying that you know PlayStation and Xbox, they're like um, over emphasizing the fact that solid state is going to be a thing in the next generation, and that's going to be the next generation, and that PC players are like, hey, welcome to 10 years ago. I,
That's the nature of console gaming.
I
That's true.
understand. I understand that,
PC Master Race.
But PC gamers are also hindered by consoles for the key reason that game developers develop for where the market is. And if the market is mostly on PC, then they're going to develop for the PC, but that's not the reality. Most of the market exists on console, so they have to develop their game in order to utilize that. And
That's why we resent them.
uh, that's why we
Sorry.
resent. So, so if the all the consoles are now caught up to solid state drives and the ability to load quickly and not load things into RAM, or at least, I mean, you still have to load things into RAM, but I mean, I'm not going to get into those IT logistics right this second. But if that is no longer a consideration, then that's no longer going to have to be something that game developers are going to have to adhere to or be crippled by. Is more the point. They are no longer going to be crippled by this. And Final Fantasy VII, where you're having to move slowly through a crack, I think that PlayStation 4, that because this game there is a lot of tight spaces, it's helping this. But with PlayStation 5, with it being a big, vast open world, we're gonna that game's gonna be a lot more impressive. Um, I'm wondering now that I'm saying this out loud, do you think that the next one's gonna be a 5 exclusive? I was hoping that it wasn't, but now that I'm saying this out loud,
My prediction, I base this on nothing. My own speculation is that the second game will be 4 and 5 cross platform. The third game will be a PS5 exclusive because it will be a console seller.
okay,
I agree. I just always assumed that it was going to be a PS5, and I've already made peace with it.
yeah. I've already made peace with the fact that I'm gonna spend like $500 but
I regret none of it.
I regret nothing.
Ah,
I bought my PS4 5 years ago specifically for this game, so the fact that I actually got to use it for the game in the end, made it worthwhile. Plus, I got a lot of mileage out of it in the meantime, so it was worth it.
So, let's see. Is there anything else you guys want to talk about as far as the visuals or sound or even the loading, like we were just talking about? The technical aspect of this. Do you guys want to start getting into the story, or is there anything else that you want to circle back around to?
Well, which part does the battle system fall under?
We can do that now.
All
I
right,
think I
it's
would also
kind of in
comment
between.
Go
before
ahead.
we get on to gameplay about sound design. I was really blown away by the sound design in most of the game, but one criticism. Uh, I have a big fancy surround sound system, and the game was very much optimized for like a home theater format.
Mm-hmm.
In contrast, I don't know what was wrong with it, but I do think it is something that's wrong with the game. The design of the game is the center channel is like so muted, and I don't quite know why, that you can't always hear the dialogue over the ambient noise, and there's not really any way to adjust that. That's
Hmm.
I turned my center channel all the way up for the game so that I could hear it all the time. Um, Aside from that, it seems to be it's meant to be played loud. I would say that too, but was blown away by how well it was optimized for a home theater system.
Okay.
Very good.
I do not have such a setup. I have a stereo with a sub, um, and but my office. This is where I play my PlayStation 4 game. All of my PlayStation 4 games. So there's not a whole lot of space to fill out sound with. So I'm fine with that.
You know, like the big robot snake monster you fight at the end of Hojo's lab?
Yeah.
Oh, don't tell me
That.
about your snake monster.
Oh, yeah, I'm telling you about the snake monster. Didn't you tell me this is a PG rated podcast? But anyway.
PG-13. PG-13.
Um, Yeah, the sound effects in that scene where like it bursts through the wall and then bursts through the other wall and goes over your head, like the sound on that made me want to duck in my seat. Like, oh God, it's over top of me.
See, with a guy that only can hear out of one side,
I'm sorry,
surround
Luke.
sound isn't a consideration. Now,
What is that?
quality sound, which this game definitely had, I definitely appreciate that. Um, but surround sound, yeah,
I'm sorry. But thoughts on gameplay?
you opened a wound.
I've really enjoyed it. I clocked out of most RPGs once the battle system was more action based than turn based.
Mm-hmm.
Probably Final Fantasy 12 was the limit I was willing to go as far as that system,
Mm-hmm.
which that was still basically turn based.
Yeah, it really was.
Because I got 15, I couldn't get into 15 because of the battle system, and that's very similar to
I
this.
know. Alex, I mirror your facial expression. Anyway, keep going, Mike.
But this is a absolute refinement of that system. Plus, I think it lends itself to the Materia system a lot better. To be able to switch back and forth between the characters and fill up bars, I think is just a brilliant way to keep the formula fresh, but also make it like the old system. It didn't compromise anything, and I was impressed by that.
Right. I I really liked how there was even switching between different people, not just to fill up your gauge, but switching between different people was in itself a strategy.
Yeah,
Like, for whatever reason, enemies can detect who the leader is of the party. So,
how about
um,
that?
so if you're fighting a distance enemy that, you know, is just shooting the leader and is basically can only shoot in front of it, continuously switching back and forth between person to person almost makes you invulnerable.
Yeah,
That's how I fought the um, the
Tonberry?
no, the drill thing in the lobby. Aerith and Barrett
Oh yeah.
in Red 13, that battle.
Arsenal,
Yeah,
Arsenal.
Arsenal. Yeah.
Yeah,
So, but
yeah.
anyway, back to the battle system. Keep going, Mike.
And there is a lot of room for strategy too. And I didn't really feel that until I came upon Hell House, which was my least favorite boss in the game.
Oh what?
I got so frustrated. It took me 3 tries, and I realized the trick was to fight as Aerith mostly, and and just cast magic as it switches along. Now I've heard in hard mode that as bad as it was in normal hard mode, it also includes 2 Tomberries.
What?
So
Oh, I'm not that
yeah,
far yet, but oh god, that sounds
so,
devastating.
so what? I was thinking about trying hard mode until I heard that, and I was like, nope.
Yeah, no, I'm actually playing hard mode casually hard,
You've been
um,
warned.
and I've enjoyed it so far. Um, it's definitely it's definitely put me up against the ropes quite a few times. Um, I hardly died when I was playing normal mode. I'm gonna have to say less than 10 times in all of normal mode. Um, but I've only played one chapter of hard mode, and I've already died 10 times. So there's that big of a gap for me.
I could usually breeze through bosses, but the bosses that got me, it was usually 2 or 3 times before I got past them.
My normal strategy, and I don't know, talking to Alex and actually looking online, there's a lot of people that didn't do this same thing, and I just thought it just made sense, so I just kept doing it. I just, I just kept crawling, and it kept working.
Whatever works.
There's my Jerry reference for the evening. Um, no, um, you get in one of the early chapters, like the first time you meet Aerith, um, you get the deadly dodge materia, and so I equipped that, and I used that all through the game, all the way through the game, and again, I just kept using it because it kept working. Get dodge, dodge, slash, 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 dodge out, dodge back, slash, 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 dodge out, dodge back in, slash, slash, slash. I mean, I stayed Cloud almost the entire game. But,
Yeah, see, I counter a lot more, especially in hard mode. Counter is essential.
oh man,
Good to know.
what is what is that one move?
Yeah, Counter Strike
Yeah,
is
counter stance.
Cloud.
Counter stance.
Yeah, that's his best move.
That is his best move. I mean, I don't think I would have been able to beat Rufus without counter stance. I that was one of the places where I did die once, because I got the tiger down like twice, um, or got him down both times. But the first time I got him down, and then I just could not. After Rufus, threw up that coin, I'm like, what am I supposed to do now?
Yeah, Rufus was tough.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, I thought that was rather appropriate because he was tough in the first one. I mean, at least I thought he was tough in the first one.
I got him on the second try. The one I really struggled with was Motorball. And that's partly because I've always had trouble with the motorcycle mechanics for whatever reason. That's true for the original too. And they didn't change the mechanics much for that.
Are you talking about the last guy?
Yeah, the last chase.
The last guy on the highway. Yeah,
Yeah,
no.
It took me 2 tries, and it's a really long fight. Fortunately, in hard mode, you can skip the extended motorcycle segments, so that's kind of nice.
all
You
right.
still do the boss fights, but you can just skip past that.
So the first chapter I played in hard mode was the Jesse chapter, the one where you're fighting the base so she can get the chemical compound.
Which I have
Um,
beef with here in a little bit.
hmm.
Which I have beef with here in a little bit.
Okay, well you can talk about it here in a second.
All right.
So um, while I was doing the motorcycle, I did a little bit of it, and then it said you could skip it, and I was like, okay, let's see what happens. And it skipped all the way. I kind of wanted to fight. Um, what was his
Roshi.
name? Yeah, I kind of wanted to fight him in hard mode on the bike, and it skipped right past it. However, I was able to fight him in hard mode. Um, but I don't have you. Okay, Alex, you've played a bit of hard mode. I kind of in strike me if you haven't had this problem, but I've had so much problem with the normies, but I have not had as hard of a time as I was expecting with the bosses.
Yeah, that was one of my thoughts about hard mode is that I think it's refreshingly hard. It's not punishingly hard. It was refreshing to come back and get a pretty solid challenge where you have to rethink a lot of your strategies and play in a much different way. That was refreshing to me. The boss fights of the ones I've done have not been devastating because you already know the mechanics. And a lot of times, the thing that makes it refreshing is that they have new mechanics or they have more complex mechanics. Like, remember the boss at the very beginning in the Sector 8 reactor, the first one, where, like, you got to get behind something
Yeah.
to. Well, it did fire out one beam at a time, but there were two different junk piles that you could get behind. Now it fires out two beams. So, and then you got to get it down, I guess, before it fires again. I don't know what happened. I got it down real fast.
Oh.
But
So,
yeah, you get one shot at that to avoid that thing.
huh. All right. Huh. Okay. I I'm not super excited to replay that mission again, and I want to get that platinum trophy. I want to get that platinum trophy so bad.
I'd say this: I'm getting up to the part with Wall Market, and I am often frustrated by really hard games. I don't like the Dark Souls games or any of those kind of or Sekiro or any of the clones like that. They're they're punishingly hard. They just make me mad.
Mhm.
But this has not made me mad.
All right. Okay. Before we move on, any other thoughts about the battle system?
Yeah, I think I'm good there.
Okay. I think I don't think that there's anything that I really wanted to talk about that. Other than one thing, switching between the characters or having solo missions from the characters, I kind of wanted a harsher difference between some of the characters. Like, I would have really liked a free aiming mechanic for Barrett, especially with his solo mission. Um, and Tifa, I would have actually liked her to have a gameplay combo mechanic like she had, or like Sabin had, or Sabin for Final Fantasy VI. I would have liked that a lot.
You just brought up another point that I want to address, and that's I waited 23 years to find out that I've pronounced a lot of things incorrectly.
Yeah, right?
Like Mako, for example, or Mako. I always called it Mako.
Or Aerith. You
Yeah,
called her Ares forever.
yeah,
That was a localization
that's
difference.
true. My daughter gives me hell about it though. She's like, "Why are you calling her that?" It's like that's what she was called for 23 years. I can't change it now. It's
Do you
ingrained in my brain.
do you not remember that we used to argue about that back in college?
Oh, I know we did, but that's still what was on the game. I was just reading what it said.
So I'll tell you a name that I'm looking forward to hearing them say out loud because I don't think it's what is it?
Nanaki,
Oh,
right? Nope.
Nanaki or Nanaki?
Nanaki.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about
It's
that one.
pronounced Meineke,
I also wondered about Yuffie
Oh,
like
or
the
Yuffie.
tires.
no, the one is I hear everybody call him Kate Sith, and
Oh
because
yeah.
right
That's what I always said.
that's what I've always called him as Kate Sith. From what I understand, the mythological character that he is based on, the Gaelic fairy cat, is pronounced Kashi.
Huh.
And I don't know. Will they say it like that in the game? It's kind of an obtuse sounding word to us.
Yeah.
Kashi. I don't
Well,
know.
well, Yuffie's another one. Like, is it Yuffie or Yuffie? I've heard it two different ways.
I've heard it,
Yeah.
but I mean, in the what is it? The Advent Children.
Yeah.
Now,
Did it? No, I don't think they mentioned her name in it.
wait a second.
I gotta rewatch that.
Was Kate Sith in Advent Children?
Yeah, and
Yes.
he's Scottish for some reason.
Yeah. Yeah. Um
Wait, didn't you say that that was a Gaelic pronunciation?
Irish. It's Irish folklore.
Well, it could have been Irish accent. It's hard to tell the difference between the two.
But still. Maybe that's why he
No,
was Scottish in Advent Children.
no, actually, the more I think about it, that was totally Scottish.
You've just made an enemy for life. You ruined Scotland.
Viking Bob comes to mind.
But
Fired.
The Kaharan, the enchanted land of unemployment.
Oh, what was the other one? Oh, you wouldn't think that a ring of water would stop me. What was the next line,
Wow,
Mike?
deep cuts. But yeah, here we are.
Yeah, again, here we are. By the way, that was a deep cut. That was from Perpetual Workday, which I have those videos marked on the RGC YouTube channel. If you want to watch those, I think I've got both of them on there. I think I've got
especially the
both.
beginning, especially the beginning of the second episode.
Yeah,
As
good show. That
fast
was a
as overdone.
that was a fun show.
Yep.
Yeah, you know what? I think we're cursed by part threes.
You're not wrong. Or I am specifically, I think.
FU 1 and 2, and then 3 got thrown out, and then and then Perpetual Day or Workday 1 and 2, and then 3 got thrown out.
There's a reason there's not a third Heart Spark.
You have an aversion to trilogies.
I,
Gotcha.
I actually threw out the first one in that case. What I got was the second and third one. Anyways, we're getting way off topic.
Yeah, it's fine. We're random geek culture for a reason.
We're also going on an hour, so there's that.
We are. Well,
Yeah,
you got on late, so
I know.
I got you for
Fallout.
yeah.
Let's talk about the story,
Yes, let's. I think we've talked about the mechanics, the sound, the graphics
or at least
enough.
the story
Enough.
differences.
Yeah. So, uh, there's one thing that I want to mention that was pretty early on in the story. And that was how they really. Okay, so here's a good question for us. Why would you remake something? So then you can add more to it. And I feel like that's what they did, especially with Cloud's actual mercenary work and side jobs. I loved that. I thought that really added a lot to him in his character. And in fact, I think they're going to work that into the story of he's not actually an ex-soldier because I mean, as far as the narrative, he never really was in Soldier.
ah,
Um,
For the side jobs, I didn't do the Sector 7 ones because I was like, I know what happens to you guys. I don't want to waste my time.
oh, you got to
So,
do the Sector
so I
7.
skipped almost all of them, but the one where you find the cats for some reason.
did you do? Oh, Sector 7. Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah. No, I did almost all of Wall Markets, and I did a good chunk of Sector 5s.
Now you
Did you?
know that's how you unlock stuff, right?
I do now.
Yeah. Like for instance, you only get one elemental materia unless you do all of the Sector 5 stuff.
Yeah,
Um,
Yep.
there's rewards for all that.
the you eventually meet the angel of the slums, and she gives you an elemental materia, which
I
really
think
comes in handy.
I did get that.
Oh, you did do that?
I
Okay.
think you
Yeah,
only have to do her quest, actually.
I
Oh,
think that's what it
really?
was. Yeah,
I feel like I wasted my time then. Um, now, uh, did you did you ever get to do Whack-a-Box?
I did it once. Yeah,
Okay,
Yeah.
I like Whack-a-Box. I did it like 10 times. That was that was fun. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot. Um. Okay. Oh, I really liked how they expanded on Marlene as well.
yeah.
I mean, she was just kind of seemed like a throwaway character before that. That was kind of a explain away Barrett's motivation. I don't know if it's because I'm a father now that I actually understand Barrett now more,
You
but
know, that's a good point.
yeah, I mean,
Because to me, he went from like a Mr. T caricature to like a fully fleshed out character who like the second, like when he was on the train, the first time he takes off his sunglasses, you see like the emotion in his eyes. I'm like, okay, I'm with him now. He's my man. And I didn't get that from the original game.
yeah,
I love the design of Barrett in this game.
Yeah,
He's like Mr. T crossed with the Terminator or something,
a little bit, yeah. But he feels so much less like Mr. T as he did in the original. At the same time,
right.
I always took him to be kind of a comedy character in the
yeah,
original, and like he has his funny moments, but he looks like an eco terrorist. He looks like a dangerous freaking person, you
yeah.
know?
Now I will say, since we're talking about Barrett, I don't think that Japanese developers completely understand how black hair works.
I noticed it after you mentioned it a little bit. Yeah, he has like short, straight hair, and I don't know.
At
That's
least he doesn't
probably
have.
really hard to render.
At least he doesn't
Uh,
have cornrows like Advent Children.
oh, right, right. That was a little off-putting. You know, like the
What?
time I gave up Jello.
Oh my God, Luke, that
Speaking of dad
hurt.
jokes,
That hurt my brain. But you're right about the expansion of the side characters. I think was probably the biggest strength of the story. That yeah, these were all like throwaway characters that I barely remembered most of them, and here, yeah, you feel like a part of a team.
yeah, they force you in this one to have a connection with Biggs, Jesse, and Wedge that you did before. And again, I didn't want to because I was like, I know what happens to you all, and of course they really kind of changed up their stories. Um, the, I was a little weirded out by Jesse at first because she's kind of thirsty for Cloud in this one.
Holy
Where
crap! Yeah, this
where
game is so much more
Horny.
horny. Yeah,
where in the first game she always came across to me as very motherly, and I didn't get that at all in this one.
yeah,
No,
they
she was
want to jump
very
that guy's
She
bones.
wants you to make her a mother in this one.
right. Which I don't know. Do they sell maternity like
Don't go this
metal
route.
metal
Don't
metal
don't go this route,
corsets?
Luke.
Cause I'm wondering how that's gonna work.
We may find out in the second one because I don't think she died.
You know that she's the only one that I'm really wondering if is dead. Cause I think Biggs and Wedge, I think they are for sure still alive.
Well,
No, explicitly so.
people have pointed out in the scene with Biggs, the ribbon and the gloves that are on the table. The gloves are not his. His are brown, and these are like a lighter color, and like Jesse's. There's a and they say if you that and I couldn't see it myself, but if you pause it in a certain place when the camera is turning, you can see another bed with somebody laying in it next to him. Which I don't know.
That would be a mind blower.
You can go
I
check that out yourself.
I didn't notice this.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I haven't fully subscribed to that yet, but it's plausible.
Hmm. I mean, all of them are plausible. Now, actually, now Alex, you came up with a great theory not too long ago, and
I did.
yeah, about uh which one's the fat one? Biggs?
Wedge.
Wedge. About Wedge and who he might be in the subsequent games.
I think that was me.
Was it you?
Yeah, it was based on a post that somebody made because I'm following this Final
Oh, it
Fantasy
was
VII
you. It
group.
was
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
Okay, Alex, I gave you credit when you didn't deserve it.
That's
So,
mostly how I get credit.
someone said that if Wedge survives, then he may end up being the thing that Kasif rides instead of a giant mechanical mog. And I like that.
Oh,
it will actually make me like his character because I already like what's his name, Reeves. I already
Yeah,
like
Reeves.
Reeves.
Mhm.
Um, I already like him, and I already like his motivation.
And to be fair, the exact same guy in the exact same post also said that Biggs could become Vincent, and he kind of shot his credibility in the foot with that one.
Yeah, but I
But
mean,
I like the wedge theory though.
yeah, no, I like it too. I think that makes um a great way to change up the story without changing it too much. And I think that's the direction that they're going is they're changing up the story but not changing it too much. And I mean the explanation that, the giant, chubby mechanical Mog in the original was because Biggs was no longer available.
Wedge.
Wedge.
You're calling him Biggs because he's big.
It's just,
Um,
I just thought of that as I was saying it. I was like, hmm.
the other group of characters that they really expanded upon were the bad guys, the Shinra corporate personnel
Yeah,
people that I
and the
thought,
Turks.
and the
And
Turks
the
too.
Turks.
Yeah,
Um, I thought a lot of them in the original were very forgettable. That like I remember whenever they talked about like, hey, I'm actually Reeves. I'm thinking,
yeah.
who's Reeves? Should I remember him? I remember him now because there were a lot of scenes with him and Scarlet and the weird little bald dude. I don't know his name, but
Palmer.
Palmer. Yeah,
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 Palmer. The only reason I remember Palmer is he was the weird guy dancing around with the shotgun
Yeah,
in
right.
by the plane.
the
But
tiny
Which
like
Bronco.
whenever
Yeah,
he came back in the original game, whenever he like, I'm Palmer, you've met me before. I don't remember you at all, buddy.
yeah.
And that will not be the experience here.
The thing I appreciated, and I always felt that Reno and Rude were already pretty fleshed out, but they have some moments of like real human in them. Like there's a part where they're in the helicopter going to the pillar, and they kind of question their mission,
are
which is
we really doing this?
yeah, which is something they never did any time beforehand.
Well,
So,
I also really like how, speaking of Reno and Rude, in the Advent Children movie, their motivations and how they were portrayed in the original Final Fantasy VII to how they were portrayed and their motivations in the Advent Children movie was a big leap. However, now redefining their source makes them more believable in Advent Children.
yeah, that's a good way to put it.
So, let's see. Alex's talking points. I didn't really read yours.
I think for time we can skip all that. I think that's a diversion.
It's a diversion. It's a diversionary tactic.
Yeah.
Can we talk Zach?
We can talk Zach. In fact, that's one of the things that I have down on my notes, which was kind of where I was going.
Zach
So,
is back,
Zach is back. We're gonna have a Zach attack.
and he's not going down like a hack.
Oh my, you people.
Uh, so in an alternate timeline, he survives. So how's that play into the next one? I'm very excited to see that. That's really the only plot difference, and I'm excited to see how it plays out. Everything else, I'm a little bit nervous about, but not that. I think once you get alternate timelines in the mix, I think that's going to lend to some interesting story beats.
Right. Right.
I'm wondering, like, are they going hard into alternate timeline, or is it going to be just sort of ambiguous that we just retold the story and never explained why it's different? Or
I
are they
think
going hard and like this is universe 2?
my theory is that you're going to see a timeline where Aerith survives um, to the end, since people kind of want that, but also people want it not to change. You're going to get the best of both worlds there. Of course, this is pure speculation, But to have Zach in there and have Zach return and really, the love connection doesn't change because Cloud won't have the same relationship with Aerith in that timeline. So I think there's a lot of potential in that storyline, if nothing else, just to smooth it over with the people who want something different.
Um,
Regarding the changes in one of the points in my section, you ever see those questions online that people say, like, if you could erase your brain and replay one game as if it were the first time ever, what would it be? And for a lot of people, that's Final Fantasy VII. In a lot of ways, this is it. You're getting the closest there could possibly be to playing Final Fantasy VII for the first time, because this is going to completely new ground.
That's
right.
true.
I mean, I have no idea what they're doing with any of this, and I'm so excited about it.
Now, since we were just talking about Zach, um, and we know that they're going to have other games, not necessarily DLCs or whatever. Um, I would love it if they made a Crisis Core DLC for this installment.
I don't understand why that was never ported anywhere else to begin with.
Right?
I would have bought that in a second on any other platform.
Right? And going through and playing it, I'm like, why is this not anywhere else? But the same thing, I'm thinking the same thing for Peace Waker for the um, for Metal Gear Solid, and that's kind of
Yeah.
what Phantom Pain is. It's a rehash of those same game mechanics as what was in Peace Waker, but still the Crisis Core not being anywhere else makes no sense whatsoever, unless one of the reasons why they haven't redone it is because they're going to do a DLC where they retcon a lot of the story.
Or even just retell it, because that's a game that not a lot of people played because not a lot of people had a PSP.
Same.
And one of the key things that you have with a DLC is essentially an installment that you don't necessarily need to play for the core experience. And I don't think that there's anything in Crisis Core that you could not continue the Final Fantasy VII story with. However, if you got the DLC and played through it, you would get more from it, which I have gotten more from it. My God, there's so much in that story, in the Crisis Core story, that I thought I understood about Soldier, because that's really what it goes through. That's really kind of what it's about more than
Right.
anything is Soldier, and there's a lot of things that I thought I understood that I did not. So
All
anyway,
right.
um, let's see. Oh, there is one thing that I wanted to talk about in the story
Okay.
that kind of, the more I think about it, the more I don't like it. That's the inclusion of Seth Roth from the very beginning of the game. I would have been perfectly happy with. So just think about the first time you played the game. You think that the big bad is the Shinra Corporation, and then you get out of the city, or you're getting close to getting out of the city, and you find out what this game is actually about. What is wrong with that? Especially since this is one game.
The answer to that, someone else said this, and I kind of agree with it, is that it's not a surprise anymore. You go into it, if you're us, you go into it already knowing who the big bad is, and that may not shock any, you know, even the new players probably know the Sephiroth's a thing. So it's not going to surprise anybody going into this one. So they decided to just go with it from the beginning.
The other
Personally,
reason I think. Go ahead.
personally, I wouldn't carry the way.
The other reason that I think they included him from the very beginning is I don't like games with an absent villain. And other Final Fantasy games have definitely ran that track. I mean, both 8 and 9 have a villain that doesn't appear until the last chapter.
Yeah.
And, like, turns out this is the bad guy. Now fight. I like it whenever the villain shows up early and is present for the entire story.
It's like,
The other reason is that this is a self-contained story. It's its own game. It's not, I mean, it is part 1 to something, but we see the bad guy early on. I mean, Star Wars is a good example. That's a trilogy that was originally planned for one movie, but the first movie is a self-contained story. It's its own thing. Bad guy is like scene 1. It's the same with Final Fantasy 7.
well, yeah, like even like the other good Final Fantasies, like 4, 6, and 10 are all like the bad guys front and center in all of those.
Yeah, Kefka shows up very early.
Yeah. Sin, Golbez,
Hmm.
yeah, they're all there.
And I think the ones that really missed the mark are the ones that revealed the bad guy in the last chapter.
Now, Mike didn't really like this, and I don't know why. Maybe he's dumb. But me and you both liked 15. In 15, Aiden was in the game introduced as an ambiguous character that wasn't necessarily introduced as a villain from the very beginning. And that was
Spoilers.
something that I actually very much appreciated with 15.
Yeah, I also like the trope where turns out this guy you've known for the whole time is the bad guy. I also like that trope.
Yeah, and they executed it right in Final Fantasy 15. They didn't execute it right in KOTOR 2.
Fair enough.
You're wrong, but that's okay.
Okay. So we've talked about a lot of the game. Before we move on to the final the final piece of this, I want to talk about the reworks of some of the bosses. Now we've already talked about Hell House, so I don't think we need to go back over that one again. Um, but one of the ones that I really liked, and we kind of touched on this, was the boss at the end of the highway. Remixing it and not playing him as a turn based combat, but actually a motorcycle battle.
It made more sense.
That
I
was
loved
intense.
I loved that. You know what else is intense? Camping. Um,
I saw that one coming.
I did too, and it didn't hurt any less.
so yeah, no, that battle was phenomenal. Um, and that all of the big moves that rolled me in the first time were the same moves, just reworked. Now, as soon as you get the mechanics down and the timing right, then it's not too much of a big deal. But it's still awesome. Just the first time that you do the motorcycle race or the motorcycle battles with the Jesse chapter was just exciting and phenomenal. I Mike, you know how you were saying like you were blown away by the visuals the first time that the sun's coming down through the plate?
Yeah.
I was blown away on that part the first time you're doing the motorcycle racing or motorcycle battle or whatever you want to call it. That was my point in the game where it was like, because everything up to that I was like, okay, this is pretty good, this is pretty good, pretty good. That right there, that chapter, and that's why when I was playing hard mode, that was the first thing that I went back and played. It wasn't just the motorcycle racing. It was also the base attack. I loved everything about that chapter.
And then you never see Roshi again.
Yeah, yeah.
I I hope we I hope that's not a throwaway character.
I
I think I think you should see him again. I just expect to see him again in this game. Um,
Yeah.
I think that is kind of a missed beat there. Is he didn't come back? What was the point of him again?
he could at least had a blip in the final chase.
So, um, I'm just going to talk about this real quick. So, one of the things that um, they really hit hard on Crisis Core was cloning and injecting cells and creating clones of certain members of Soldier. And making Roach or Roachy or whatever you want to call him, making him a Sephiroth clone would actually, and not revealed until the next chapter, would actually be a pretty big beat to the actual main narrative of the story.
You know, we mentioned like everybody is hot for Cloud in this game. I kind of think Roche is hot for Cloud. I can't tell what his deal is, but I don't know, man. I
So the after the director of Soldier went missing, pretty much Soldier was disbanded. Soldier was the vast majority of the key members were pretty much hunted down and killed. Um, and that's kind of what happened to Zack. Um, so I feel like Roach was one of those just recently updated to first class soldiers, or maybe even wasn't even first class, that he's just been kind of wandering around the city. He's no longer part of Shinra at all, and he's just, which is kind of one of the reasons why he maybe destroyed that whole base along with Cloud, you know. But he's just kind of wandering around looking for excitement. I don't think he's affiliated with Shinra at all anymore.
I got
And
some of those vibes.
yeah, and I'm out of water.
Sorry, I'm out of battery power, so
You're out of
time to wrap up.
you're out of battery power. Oh, on your laptop?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, you'll have that. Okay,
yeah.
so we talked about that major battle sequence. All of them. There was a bunch of reworks that I really enjoyed. We could spend all night talking about them, but the one that I really wanted to talk about, and we can finish up on, is not necessarily the Sephiroth battle, but the Whispers battle. That was absolutely awe-striking. Is that? I mean, I was awestruck, but it was
It works.
awe-striking a word. Yeah, but
No, I'll allow it.
yeah, I'm sorry, but I just enjoyed the crap out of that whole sequence. Um,
What I didn't like is if you died like near the end of that battle, you had to start from the very beginning. There was no like midway point where you picked up again. It was like, nope, right back to the beginning.
yes, I heard about that. I think you're the one that told me about that.
Yeah, and it took me an extra day to beat it just because I got frustrated with the length of time it took to get back to where I was.
Um, but however, for me, every time that I was starting to get overwhelmed, that I was starting to get close to dying, somebody else jumped into the battle, and I didn't know. I was starting to get to the point where I didn't know if I hit that right like timing, and it just happened to turn out that way, or if there was some kind of like mechanic that caused that to happen. But I love the way that it happened, and it made that scene, that whole battle just was great. I loved it, and then the whole part where Barrett is like waiting for you to stun the big enemy, and then he shoots him. Which, by the way, did you notice kind of a call out to the original game of um, Red 13 casting Blood Moon before he shot his big shot. Did you notice that?
I did not.
Because when
I knew,
what'd you say, Mike?
I knew he was doing something.
Yeah, he was casting. He was calling. He was doing his special skill of Blood Moon, and I was like, yes, that's awesome. I just every aspect of this game just it made 17-year-old Luke jealous for today. You know what I mean?
So you'll rank this a 10, right?
Oh
Out
man,
of 10.
no, an 11, an
Turn
11.
it up to 11.
I'll say
It's
7 out of 7.
Nice. I say finally Fantasy 7.
finally Fantasy 7. Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna mirror yours. That's actually even better than mine. Um, so I don't really think that there's anything else to trodden on this. I don't know if that was the right word to use, but I'll go with it anyway.
It was
Um,
not.
what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Though, before we wrap up, I am kind of disappointed that none of you guys commented on Luke on a stick.
There's a lot going on in your background.
I thought I was hallucinating it.
Oh, wait. That wasn't a Luke that was talking this whole time?
Yeah, that's the face I've been looking
Uh,
at.
well.
So anyway,
Now the long wait for the next game.
You know, my hope is that it's like every other year release.
Yeah, I could live with that.
That's my hope.
I'm hoping for a Lord of the Rings release schedule. And
I don't see that.
and I'm well. I mean,
That's once a year.
was it
You
once
know-
a year?
Yeah.
Okay,
You're
Star
thinking of
Wars.
Star Wars.
Star Wars release schedule. I just assumed that. Yeah,
Sequel
no,
trilogy?
you're right.
Sequel
Yeah,
trilogy or prequel trilogy? Because one's 3 years and one's 2 years.
yeah, no, okay. So the sequel trilogy, once every other year. That's
You
what
know,
I'm hoping for.
A comment from Tetsuya Nomura, one of the director of the game. I heard he said he feels like they need to finish this game within his lifetime. Like that was the scale of the development process of this. That he feared if they continue to delay the game, that he'll be in his 90s before they even get started on it.
Isn't he
Which
in
is
his?
what
Isn't he in his 40s?
Nomura, I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know. But he was just commenting on, within the period of his career. So I get the feeling that he wants to see this through
Mm-hmm.
and not sit on it for 10 more years.
Here's hoping. That's all I got.
All right. We didn't have a proper intro, so we'll have a proper excerpt. I mean, we haven't done this in 5 months, so I feel like we did okay. So this has been Random Geek Culture in West Virginia. I am your host, Luke Hersey. My co-hosts tonight were Mike Mello and Alex McLean. And if you like this, you can follow us on all the things. You can hit like and subscribe if you're looking at this on the YouTubes, and if you're not, I don't know how you're watching this. maybe it's been pirated.
Maybe.
You've made it when you've been pirated.
Yay.
Yeah. So anyway, if you want to leave a shout out, leave a comment, whatever, there's that. There's also the email that you can leave a message to. It's randomwvgeek@gmail.com. And you can also shoot me a text or a voicemail to 304-566-9777. I can't believe I remembered that. Mike, why are you turning your laptop upside down?
I'm bored.
You're bored?
Yeah.
Like a good piece of cedar. um,
Dad
And
joke.
dad joke. You know
That was
why?
the
You
one.
know, I've never explained why I like dad jokes. You know why I like dad jokes? They
Why?
don't offend anybody. They're just meant to have
They offend
fun.
Alex.
Huh?
They
You
offend
know,
Alex.
they hurt me. They hurt my brain.
Well, if I
Luke
was
doesn't go for laughs, he goes for groans.
groans.
He goes for the gut, right with a knife, like a tonberry.
Ah,
One shot kill.
Yeah.
That's what Luke does.
Oh man.
The
That.
jokes.
Yeah. That was. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. You know, there's actually been several social groups that I've been in that did not know that they were called Luke jokes and just started calling them Luke jokes. And I'm like, who told you that? Like I'll change a job or something like that, and they'll call it a Luke joke, and I'll be like, who from my last workplace have you talked to?
Welcome to the end.
Yeah, welcome to the end.
welcome to the end.
All right, I think that is it. Let me hit the bicycle thumbs. Let me
Let,
hit.
let- let me hit the record button, and okay, we're done. Wait,
No,
what?